Junk food junkie. Ba, 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 ba.
Build that wall. Build that wall.
Be gone with ye, vile devil shit.
They have a little heart on their butt. Mexico-inspired, Chinese-inspired food.
Carl Sagan got around. Did you know that?
The only good place for Joe Rogan to be is far away.
And that salad dressing is freedom.
Sushi jackknife. 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 Sushi jackknife.
It's a stormy night in Nashville.
Is it?
Rain is falling down like
No, it's
old
not.
dogs dying in a field.
I just drove here. Also, what does that mean?
No, it looked like it was going to be rainy, but it's not raining.
I don't understand.
Well, I thought maybe we could do like this whole noir thing. I was going to do a noir thing.
No, I don't like that.
You quickly deflated my noir thing.
Also, it's raining like dogs falling dead in a field?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is it?
A lot of dogs, like like the municipal dog pound, let them all run free. Gave them a quick-acting virus.
Okay.
And in a field,
Right.
obviously. And they all died within 45 seconds.
So, in this scenario, rain falls really quickly for 1 second and then it's over?
I guess. Yes.
Because then
Yes.
we're out of dogs
Well,
and or raindrops?
And when it hits the ground, it sort of oozes a little. Wait, dogs to raindrops.
Yeah.
What's the ratio of dogs to raindrops? I think one dog probably represents something like 1,000 raindrops.
That seems right.
They had like
what
40
breed are we
dogs.
talking about?
It's a variety.
Well,
You
I
know.
mean, obviously, a Shih Tzu
Yeah.
is not going to represent the same amount of raindrops as a lab.
Okay, so now we're really getting into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lab represents 1,000 raindrops.
Okay.
A Shih Tzu, is that a little dog?
Yeah.
How little is a Shih Tzu?
I don't know.
You just know it's a little dog.
Yeah.
You don't know how little. Let's say it represents 100. Let's keep things in
Okay.
roughly in tens.
Saint Bernard.
That's like 1,000,000 raindrops.
Wow.
So you only need one Saint Bernard to have a pretty good rainstorm.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't argue with any of this because it's all gibberish.
Chihuahua. Chihuahua has like 5 raindrops. Yeah. I mean, a fat Chihuahua, like
Right.
a Chihuahua with a problem with Cheetos.
What
15.
if I met a genie
Okay.
and I had the 3 wishes? The
Okay.
first wish, I
Okay.
wish for unlimited enchiladas throughout my
Ooh,
whole
that's
life.
a good wish. That's a very good wish.
Second wish,
Yeah.
I wish for unlimited heartburn medicine because that's a lot of enchiladas.
Okay.
And then the third wish, I wish for a pound puppy. You
Yeah.
remember pound puppies?
Certainly I do.
To come to life.
Okay.
Now, how many raindrops are represented by that pound puppy?
Well, it's a puppy.
Well, and they're very small.
Wait, was that the thing with pound puppies? They were small?
Well, I mean, they're smaller than regular dogs.
Oh, a puppy is smaller than a regular dog.
Well, pound puppies are smaller than regular.
Specifically? Was that part of the thesis of that show?
I mean, I didn't know it was a show. I'm talking about the toy.
Oh, there was a show. Pound
Okay.
Puppies was a show.
Well, I'm talking about the
Yeah.
toy.
No, there was... Okay, all right. Okay. That's... Okay, if it's a toy, it's a fraction of a raindrop, like an eighth.
But it's
Of a
a
raindrop.
living toy. Because
Sure, it's still... I mean, it still represents the same amount of rain.
I
It's
I don't care
the-
either way. I'm just chowing down on enchiladas.
Well,
in
no,
this
the
scenario.
rain... the rain is proportional to size. Yeah. Enchiladas tums, enchiladas tums, enchiladas
right,
tums.
right.
So the size... It doesn't matter if it's alive or dead. It's just the size of the pound puppy. Does it make sense?
No.
All right.
Not at all.
Somehow it does to me.
I mean, it makes as much sense as any of this is ever going to make.
Right. Welcome to Sushi Jackknife.
Hey,
You're here. We're here. We're all here together. It's not raining. Dogs don't really represent raindrops.
we're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
I'm ready for a beer. We're not... We're queer in the sense that we're weird, but neither of us
Yeah.
are gay.
What, is that what that means?
Yeah, you were never aware of that?
I had no idea what they were chanting about.
We're here. We're queer. We would like another beer.
I thought they were just saying that they're,
No, it's like
Unusual.
it's like a common rally in bear bars. Yeah.
Go figure.
It's a thing.
Well, you live, you learn.
Yeah. And then
Really should stop just screaming that down the street, huh?
Yeah,
I'm going to give people the wrong idea.
It was pretty detrimental that time you went into court for a parking ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the judge did not smile kindly on you.
That would explain why contempt of court.
Didn't help that you were in Alabama,
Alabama.
where they are so not okay with that.
Well, let me tell you about Alabama.
Tell me something.
This last week, I drove through Alabama
Oh,
to
yes.
Florida.
You were on vacay.
Yeah. And then I drove back, also through Alabama.
You did all the driving? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, my wife person drove a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I mostly drove.
How much did Oliver drive?
I mean, 25%.
Okay. Yeah. That's acceptable for an infant.
Anyway. So on the way back, we stopped for a restroom
Okay.
break because, you have to do that. And in one of the restrooms, public restroom, there is a sign over the toilet that says, "When you are done, please push the lever to flush."
Okay.
I can only assume that they've had to put this sign up because people in Alabama could not, for the life of them, figure out how to make their bodily waste go down the toilet. I imagine there was a lot of confusion, probably yelling.
Yes.
Just screaming, "Get away, poop!"
Yeah. Be gone with ye, vile devil shit. I banish thee to the depths of hell. Hail.
Alabama's terrible.
Alabama.
However, as much as I'd like to just wail on Alabama,
Wail-A-Bama.
I have made it abundantly clear that the state I will feud with is North Dakota.
Yeah, oh yes.
I can't have two states.
You're right, you've established. Maybe
told-
Alabama could be my state.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, that's up to you.
Well, here's the thing. Being from Georgia, in Georgia, we make fun of Alabama.
And it takes a lot for Georgia to get to make fun of someone.
Sure does. You just suddenly turned into a hardware store owner from Minnesota when you said that joke.
Oh, heck.
Oh, heck. Blair from Blair's Hardware. Now this is a real guy.
Okay.
If you go on the YouTube and you need to know how to wind your line trimmer, okay, whether it be electric, whether it be gas, Blair can help you.
What if it's manual?
He cannot help you with that. Blair never experienced a manual wire trimmer.
Oh, heck.
Yeah, line trimmer.
Oh.
No, literally, I did. I don't know how to put line in the spool on my weed eater, and so I had to find a guy in Minnesota to tell me how to do it.
What you do
Blair.
is just when it's time to replace the string, just throw the whole thing away.
Oh yeah,
Get a new one. Yeah. It comes pre-wound. You don't have to worry about it.
is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know I could do
If
that.
you buy a new one, it's just right there. So just throw it away. It's the American way.
You're right. Shout out to MrHardware.com, a real thing that you can access on the interweb.
MrHardware.com.
MrHardware.com to help you figure out simple shit that no one ever taught you.
Man, how quick do you think he had to get on the internet to get the domain MrHardware.com?
1996.
Like he's
Serious.
the first.
Oh yeah, that domain, no kidding, is probably worth $40,000.
I would
right
imagine
now.
so.
Yeah. You ever look up a domain and it's like $2,000, and then you look up another domain slightly altered and it's like $1? Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I've
domain?
never experienced
Really?
this in my life.
I have bought a surprisingly large amount of domain names for various projects and business ideas just to secure them. I mean, there's not a lot. This is only a few times, and it costs you basically, it's like $12 a year
Okay.
to own the domain for something that no one cares about, right?
Right.
Now, I'm sure that like beer.com is a seriously expensive domain name, or football.com probably routes you to the NFL, but
Actually, I'm going to check that out. because I'm curious.
JustinLCroft.com is a cheap domain name, which I own. Fuck you, guy in England, who also has my name.
Well, does he have the L?
He doesn't have the L.
Well, then he has no interest in that website.
You're right, but he does own JustinCroft.com. Guys, if you're looking for antiquarian books or just pictures of a skinny Englishman, JustinCroft.com is your destination.
Football.com does not redirect
Really?
to the NFL.
What is it?
It's a site helping you manage, track, and report all of your youth soccer-related activities.
Oh.
For free.
Wait a minute.
So it's not football.com. It's football.com.
Football. Oh my God, the Europeans got there first. Mm-hmm. Wow.
This is why America gets no respect.
Make America internet again?
Build that wall. Build that wall.
No, don't really build it. It's a bad idea.
I mean, he can build a wall.
Yeah, anywhere.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend.
Well, as we've seen, immigrants are pretty industrious at getting around most barricades. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that a brick wall is going to do much at this point. But first, we have to circle back around to pound puppies.
Pound puppies.
I think that was the stinger. I never knew there were toys.
Really?
You never knew. You never knew there was a show.
First off,
okay,
if you knew there was a show, you should definitely know there are toys.
I know, but I didn't retain the memory of those thousands of commercials I witnessed as a child.
Every single TV show that you watched as a child had a corresponding toy.
Can I say something about our generation of millennials?
No, you can't. You're going to do it anyway.
I am, yeah. These days, there are controls, I think, to a certain extent, against marketing towards children. When we were children, and you're a little bit younger than me, so maybe even it was harder core when I was a kid. I think the marketing to children was off the charts. Oh, it's like a beanbag toy.
It's a pound puppy.
I might have even had one of those and just not realize, that's bad branding on their part. I might have had some of those and not realized it was a pound puppy branded toy.
They're very noticeably branded.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They have a little heart on their butt.
Oh, that's right, they do. You're bringing back so much. Mm-hmm. Well, the cartoon show is memorable because Cooler. This I remember because I was Cooler for Halloween when I was like 2.
Oh, I doubt that.
No, I was.
You
I
definitely
was
were not Cooler.
Well, not
anything.
in the adjective sense of the word. I was literally Cooler from the Pound Puppies, a character. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Not that I would. Fuck you, by the way. That just dawned on me. So yeah, I was literally the character Cooler, and boy, those pictures are embarrassing, by the way. But come on, we're recording a fucking podcast. And I used to watch the show religiously, so I knew that there were different characters. The most memorable character, besides Cooler, who was cool and had spots and stuff and big black ears.
Do you have spots or dots?
He had spots. They were pretty big.
Not dots?
I don't think so. Dots I picture as smaller.
Okay.
Yeah. These were spots. They were large. Why are you mincing spots and dots? Don't mince your spots with your dots. Anyway, so they had this dog who was the junk food junkie. Now, I don't think that was his go-by name, but his song was Junk Food Junkie, and there was this whole...
How'd that go?
Actually, I remember. Junk Food Junkie. Da, 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 junk Food Junkie.
Oh, so they spent 2 seconds on lyrics for that song?
Well, there's more. I just don't remember the verses. Okay. I just remember Junk Food Junkie. Ba, 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 ba. Anyway... And this dog, all he does, he's an overweight dog. He looks poorly. Actually, he looked sort of homeless as well. And all he did was eat junk food that he got out of trash cans every day, which was an association to children to not eat out of trash cans, obviously. So that's what I remember about Pound Puppies.
What I remember about them is I didn't know there was a TV show and I never bought one.
So did someone give you one?
No.
You just remember the toys existing. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But everything when we were kids had a corresponding toy.
It sure did.
Many of the TV shows just existed to sell the corresponding toy.
100% true. Transformers.
And G.I. Joe.
Yep. If I'm correct. Now, you know what? I think G.I. Joe might have had comics before it did anything else.
I know it had toys before it.
It had a show.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because it had toys in like the 70s.
Right.
And then it had the show, which was very educational.
Yeah. Well, the best part about the G.I. Joe cartoon was like the "Don't walk across power lines" segment at the end, and then instead of going "the more you know,"
Right.
they went.
Knowledge is power. Wasn't that G.I. Joe?
Yeah, that was knowledge is power, and then they go G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
which was their stinger, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, Transformers does not hold up. I tried to watch that.
I didn't ever watch Transformers.
Oh, I did. I watched Transformers. I watched G.I. Joe because I remember the Cobra Commander, like this, Snake Man, was pretty memorable as a child.
I mostly had G.I. Joes, like,
just
as
had them?
toys. I don't think I watched it.
I didn't have G.I. Joe toys. I was really into Ninja Turtles.
Well, I was too.
Ninja
Everyone
Turtles hit
was.
hard. Yeah.
And if you weren't, you're definitely not
Cooler.
From the Pound Puppies.
I was so possessive, by the way, and this is a little embarrassing to tell, but I was so possessive of my toys, particularly my Ninja Turtles, which I had in a simulated sewer pipe.
I'm familiar.
You know what I'm talking about? Did you have one of those?
No.
There was like a bucket that you
My
put
cousin
in.
had everything.
Oh, okay.
All of them. Anything Ninja Turtles, he had it.
He had it. I was kind of that kid. I was an only child,
He had nunchucks.
Oh, yeah.
He had a bow staff thing.
I didn't have that. I didn't have these things.
He had the little, like, katana.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Well, the katanas?
Yeah,
the
katanas.
Forks?
That's it.
Yeah, the big
He had
forks.
those.
Raphael, katanas. Yeah, I didn't have any of that. I just had the figures. I tried to make my own nunchucks multiple times out of pencils. Man, it never worked that well.
Shocking.
Yeah. But I did. I had a whole sewer pipe bucket of Ninja Turtles, and the neighbor kids wanted to come over, and the neighbor kids didn't have as many toys as I had because their parents were getting a divorce.
Well, they should have had a lot of toys then.
They didn't know.
From both sides.
But they were so sad. Their parents were so... These kids... I have more stories about these kids. This is a preliminary story about these kids, okay? Preliminary story is they would come over to my house to play. Mm-hmm. I would run upstairs and lock my toy room door from the inside and shut it. So that... Oh, sorry, it's locked. So there's no possible way you can play with my toys. We'll just have to do something else. Very possessive of my things as a child. I'm like 8 at this point. Very possessive.
And you still do it now.
I kind of do.
All the time.
Yeah, I don't
Whenever I come in, you immediately run to all the rooms and lock it and go, oh, we can't get to anything.
I guess you'll just have to leave. We'll just go outside. Yeah.
Let's go climb a tree.
Let's do it. That belongs to everyone. No, these kids were horrible. Their parents really were getting a divorce, and it was really sad. And they would sometimes come over, one of the parent would come over to the house. These guys went on vacation at one point, Nathan, and left their front door open.
Did you go in their house?
No, my mom went over there and closed it. I think I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah, so they left their front door wide open, and they had.
Was there a storm door?
No. It's just open.
That's very trusting.
I guess.
I wish more of us would do that. Maybe that's what the world needs.
No, it's not what the world needs.
The world needs more people willing to leave town with their door wide open.
No. So, there's nothing else I can do but disagree with you. Another time, these kids, we got a call because they had been left home by themselves. Now, they were a little older than me. One of them was, anyway. One was my age, and one was 13. They were on the roof, and they had planned to jump off the roof. Not in a fit of suicide, but just to kind of see what happened.
2-story?
Yeah. They definitely would have broke their legs or their arms or there's something had they jumped off the roof.
See, here's the thing. I feel like it was irresponsible of you guys to stop them from finding out.
Yeah.
Because they still don't... Well, I mean, maybe they do now.
Maybe they're dead. They could be dead.
They didn't know what happens.
Are you saying...
You should let them jump off and learn for themselves.
I thought you were kind of saying, I should have let them go just to, eliminate them from the gene pool.
No.
Okay.
They wouldn't have died.
Okay.
But, if you shatter both of your legs one time... Lesson learned.
You're right.
You know better the next time you think, I wonder what would happen when I jump off of this roof. You'll go, wait a second. We've done that. Got it.
So it's not like a passive eugenics program that you're proposing. Okay?
No. It's, I think it's good for people to learn for themselves, you know?
Well,
You
yeah.
don't want to feed them the answer. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I'm going to let my kid stick his finger in any electrical socket he wants to.
That's what I was going to get to.
He'll only do it once.
Yes. And potentially be harmed. But yes, only once. Only once. Mm-hmm. So what's going on in the world?
I mean, a lot of things are going on.
There is a lot. The RNC
was
this week, the Republican National Convention in the lovely town of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, you know why.
I don't know why, actually.
Ohio is a battleground state.
It's a purple state.
So they're desperately trying to get Ohio.
I see. They don't usually have it in Ohio. No, they bounce
It
around.
rotates.
It
It
rotates,
rotates
right?
around.
Yeah.
The best part, by the way, I don't know if you've watched any of
I caught just a tad.
was the speech from one Theodore Quincy Cruz. Don't know his middle name. Also don't know if his name is actually Theodore.
Did you say Hershey?
Quincy.
Quincy.
Theodore Quincy Cruz. The fourth.
TQC, baby. All the way.
So, I don't know. I mean, typically at these things, it's like a high school pep rally where everyone gets up and they're just like, we're going to crush them. Yeah.
It's a final lap scenario
Right.
for the presumptive, as NPR always has to say.
Until
the
he accepted
presumptive
it.
candidate,
Yeah.
yes.
So Ted Cruz got up and everyone else has been like, Donald Trump, woo! And Ted Cruz just can't bring himself to do it.
Oh, he can't.
So he gets up and everyone's expecting him to endorse Trump.
Yep.
And he says, what you should do is vote your conscience.
Yes. Vote your conscience.
Up and down the ticket. Just vote your conscience. And the people from New York, they're up front, start chanting, endorse Trump, because they like 3-syllable
Endorse
chants.
Trump. Yep, they sure do.
Build that wall, endorse Trump.
Common knowledge.
I want shoes. Like everything that's 3 syllables they love.
Cheese tastes good.
And he responds by saying, I appreciate your enthusiasm, delegates from New York, and just keeps talking.
Way to shut him down, Cruisemeister.
Not endorsing Trump, even as everyone boos. Mm-hmm. And then Trump walks in the middle of Ted Cruz's speech, as if to say, hey, don't pay attention to him. I'm here. I'm fantastic.
Right. Which is exactly the thoughts going
No,
through
he
Donald
actually
Trump's head.
he said it out loud, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure he just muttered it to himself.
To someone.
So
Trump-tastic.
Ted Cruz got what I feel like he's been deserving for a very long time. Just a hearty round of boos.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Trump did not get what he has been deserving for a long time, which is a swift kick to the testicles.
Right.
So,
And Cruz's whole thing, at least according to PBS News, which I was watching yesterday, PBS News, on there, the clip that they showed was Cruz not only a bit of his speech, but also at a rally later in his home state, which is Canada. But his reasoning was that Trump had slandered his wife and father, and he was just beating this like wife and father thing into the ground about how he had slandered his wife and father. And it's like, well, okay, good point, but I don't think that's what this is really about. You know
not
what
to
I mean?
mention, that's kind of his thing.
It is beating one thing into the ground.
No. Trump.
Slander.
Yeah, that's what Trump does.
He does do that. He does. Mike Pence,
Yeah.
VP candidate with Trump.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz is a wet blanket. Absolutely. Mike Pence is like he's like a post that you've rubbed
Okay.
for years, and you've smoothed out all the edges. on Mike Pence.
Okay.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
He's a smooth man.
He's smooth, and
He's smooth to your touch.
he's smooth to the touch.
If you were to touch Mike Pence,
That's correct.
he would be very, very smooth.
Along the wood grain, especially if he was just exfoliated or rubbed with some sort of mineral spirits.
I don't want to get too into this.
I know,
but I really am curious how Mike Pence is going to work with Donald Trump. Mike Pence, for those who don't know, is a very morally
Yes.
superior individual.
His record is all about Christian conservative values.
And Donald Trump's record is all about being fantastic.
Whatever
he knows
that
the
applies.
words. He's
Yeah.
got the best
That's
words.
right.
He knows all the words.
He doesn't need to read any words. They're all encoded in his brain.
Pence is on the record as being politically and morally opposed to gambling.
Really?
Donald Trump also has an opinion on gambling, which is if he makes money off of it, who cares?
Exactly. It's kind of him in a ball.
Yeah. So-
Mike Pence, watching him, he was being interviewed on PBS News. That man, he's kind of a perfect politician. What he did, and this is what the commentators even said he did. This is what a guy from the New York Times, he's always on NPR, David Brooks. This is what David Brooks said on PBS News after the Mike Pence interview. Mike Pence takes Donald Trump and he smooths out the edges, basically is what David Brooks said. He takes it all and he just makes it all calm down a little bit. So every question they asked, which were good, pertinent, not hard hitting, but decisive questions, right?
Right.
He was able to counter. He said, I don't think Donald Trump said that, or I don't think Donald Trump believes that. Donald Trump wants to throw out NAFTA entirely, doesn't believe in free trade.
Right.
Mike Pence says, well, Donald Trump does like NAFTA. Donald Trump just thinks there's problems with NAFTA, and it's supposed to be looked at every few years, and we should look at it look at it constantly. That is not what he said.
What is going to be interesting,
Right.
is the one vice presidential debate.
That's right.
Because whoever
Hillary
Hillary Clinton picks, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point.
Not going to happen.
No,
I want it to
no,
happen. If it happened, I'd
absolutely
be so
not.
happy. I'd be so
No.
happy. On the record.
Whoever she picks is going to have to sit there in the debate and say over and over, there was nothing that incriminating in the emails they didn't find. They found all the incriminating emails. They're not that incriminating. She lied under oath, possibly, whatever.
Right. Which I believe all that happened.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
care.
it did.
I don't care all that much.
Well,
But it did happen, I'm sure.
my opinion is because the Republicans really want to find these emails because they're certain that there's something super incriminating in them.
Right.
The FBI already found emails that have top secret things in there that she didn't properly conceal.
Correct.
If she was going to delete things, probably would have gotten rid of those too.
Exactly.
I think she just doesn't understand how technology works.
Yeah. She's an
And
older...
then she lied.
Yeah, she's an older lady.
She did lie.
Yeah.
I will give everyone
She
that.
lied.
However, she lied because she didn't know how anything works. She just doesn't get it.
Hillary...
Not a great defense, by the way.
Right. Hillary Clinton's recreational computer activities are solitaire.
And Googling herself.
Exactly.
I'm sure she Googles herself. And that's about it.
That's about it.
She probably, if they had pressed her about it, would have tried to make up something about how she's on computers all the time, using that MySpace or getting on Friendster.
That was my next one. That was Friendster. And she just discovered this Facebook phenomenon. Facebook's on the way out.
Have
bro.
you heard of the Facebook?
It's, dude.
Oh, the Facebook.
The Facebook. For people our age, and younger, I feel like it's on the way out. I feel like Facebook is quickly becoming the place for boomers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Twitter is even possibly on the outs.
Nah,
Possibly. I mean,
Nah.
it's
just
teetering a little.
it's not where the hip people hang out.
Did you hear the censorship thing with Twitter this week?
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Milo guy? Did you hear about this?
Oh, don't even
Don't get you
me
started.
started.
It's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing.
Right.
I listened to that guy, by the way, the other day on Joe Rogan's podcast,
Mm-hmm.
which I just started listening to. And not that I agree with him on basically anything, but he had some interesting things to say. It was interesting. It was intrigued by
I know
him.
very little about him.
Yeah, he's a conservative journalist.
All I need to know is that he is on the staff at Breitbart.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Well, I don't know anything about Breitbart.
Breitbart makes Fox News look unbiased.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know. It's funny because someone was texting me this week about how unbiased it is.
No.
In the sense that unbiased means they completely agree with whatever you said.
Right.
Now this guy's a trip. He's a gay man, young guy, probably in his early 30s or something.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah, he's a young gay British man.
Doesn't change my...
Not really, but he is a huge conservative Trump supporter, and he basically just says whatever he thinks, which I like in people. I'm not saying I vote for people who say whatever they think, but I like it in people when they say whatever the hell is on their mind, because it's refreshing sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
This guy on the Joe Rogan podcast, you should listen to it. It's a recent episode.
I'm not going to do that.
Not you, audience.
Joe Rogan's overrated.
Well, I like that show.
Don't listen to Joe Rogan.
Oh, come on.
There's so many better podcasts out there. Don't listen to Joe Rogan.
Whoa! Come on, give him his due.
Nah, he's a libertarian.
I'm not down with libertarianism.
He gets way into that libertarian stuff.
I haven't
on his
heard him get
podcast.
into it yet.
Can't do it.
Okay, all right, fine. I haven't heard him get into it yet.
He talks about MMA too much.
Well, yeah, he's a big MMA guy.
I don't get it. I don't like MMA.
Well, I've never. Can
And
we
his
stop?
stand-up-
Can we stop
his
parsing?
stand-up's not that funny.
Can we not parse this to death?
No, just don't listen.
Let's
to
not
Joe
parse
Rogan.
it. Anyway, this Milo guy.
You should
The
make
Joe Rogan thing is tangential.
You
Okay?
should make a podcast just summarizing the latest episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, so no one else has to listen to Joe Rogan's
They
podcast.
are 3 hours long, typically.
Yeah, I know.
It's a commitment.
Oh, and it's not worth it. Not worth it at all.
Okay. He's number one right now, which is interesting. Number one comedy right now.
That just means that the same people who think that Trump is a viable candidate have discovered his podcast.
I don't think that Joe
Just
Rogan's
a
a Trump
massive,
supporter.
massive crowd of numbskulls.
Anyway, moving on. This Milo guy.
He's a Gary Johnson supporter.
Christ, I don't know who Gary who?
The Libertarian candidate.
Is he the Libertarian candidate?
Gary Johnson.
I never even, well, of course I haven't heard of him. He's the Libertarian candidate. Do I know who the Green Party candidate is? No. Do I want to? Yes.
Oh, that was a surprising answer.
I would like to know who the Green Party candidate is.
You may be the only person on the planet that's ever said that.
Unless you're in Colorado.
Okay.
So,
I mean, Joe Rogan.
come the fuck on. This Milo guy, I don't know anything about him, so listen to this one episode, right? And then suddenly, 2 days later, after I listened to the episode, he's in the news, big time. Mm-hmm. He's banned from Twitter, which I think is a clear act of censorship on their part. What he did was he attacked Leslie Jones, is that right?
Well,
Who's in the new Ghostbusters movie. Attacked is probably a strong word.
I don't know exactly what he did.
I think he wrote a review that was unfavorable. And then I think he invited people to tweet at her.
Here's where it went crazy.
Yeah.
It got super racist,
Okay.
like N-word and coon and things like that.
Really?
Yeah.
From his side?
From everyone
From
to her.
everybody to her.
Yeah,
That's
for like
uncalled for.
24 hours.
I'm not saying that's his fault, but that's uncalled for. This guy's a provocateur. This is what he does. You know what I mean? He goes out there and he stirs shit up, right? So I'm not saying it's his fault. I don't know. But if that's what's happening to her, I could see why she left Twitter. So the first thing that happens is this all happens. She leaves Twitter, and then consequently he's banned from Twitter. They deactivate his account,
Right.
Which is a clear act of. I mean, I don't know, Nathan, if anyone's account should be deactivated.
Well,
unless they're saying, unless they're actively, the whole thing for the First Amendment, right, goes back to shouting fire in the theater.
Yeah.
Right. That's where it ends. You know what I mean?
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Twitter has always had a policy. They just haven't actively
Right.
enforced said policy.
Correct.
And they've been very, very upfront about their policy.
Right.
They just haven't, again, done anything. People complain saying this person is doing this, blah, blah, blah. And Twitter goes,
And here's an interesting caveat to all this. Twitter's a private company. You know what I mean? Twitter is not a function of our government. You know what I mean? Twitter's
Right.
not like you and I having a conversation that we're not recording, by the way.
Right.
But so it's interesting when we sort of make our public forum through this private company, and they do have certain things within their power. They have policies. We all agree to it when we sign up to an account, so they can cancel your account. It's not like gagging you. You know what I mean? So that you can't talk or taking you out of a public space. You know what I mean?
Right.
They are a private company at the end of the day. At the same time, though, it's this weird line, and this is where I'm kind of interested in the story, right? It's this weird line where, our digital lives are being funneled through these companies, whereas, our regular lives are not. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like you can say whatever you want in the world, but if you want to say it to your 100,
Well,
10,000, whatever, how many followers you have, it's a different story.
that's not necessarily true, though.
What do you mean?
You can't say whatever you want in the real world.
Well, that's true. There are
I mean, you
consequences.
can,
Yeah.
but there are consequences.
Sure.
Online, that's where the issue is. For the most part, there are no consequences for what you say.
Right.
You can say whatever you want. Most of the time, people don't even know who is saying the thing
Right.
that's being said.
You're pretty anonymous. Yeah.
Whereas if I were to walk up to someone on the street and say, right now, go to any article on Yahoo and scroll down to the first Obama comment. It should be about 3 down.
Right.
Does not matter what it's about. If I were to walk up to anyone and say the things that they say directed towards them
Exactly.
in real life, it may not be a legal
Right.
consequence,
Right.
but it might be a my face hurts afterwards consequence.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it's just interesting. It's interesting kind of where free speech fits into the context when we talk about online. You know what I mean? And I believe in a free internet. I really, truly do. I think that, hey, it's this new, amazing thing, this way for us to communicate. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with jackasses on there.
Right.
We do, but I genuinely believe in a free internet. I also understand Twitter's position.
Yeah.
But, and I understand all the positions, I guess. I understand Leslie Jones's position of being like, what the fuck?
Right.
And leaving Twitter because she acted in a movie. You know what I mean? It's a movie at the end of the fucking day.
I'm trying to find what he actually said.
It was in the New York Times and it was on BuzzFeed. One is credible, one is not.
Because all I'm finding is, and this is enough to make you dislike the guy.
Oh, there's plenty to dislike. Yeah.
His catchphrase is "Feminism is a cancer." So
That's one of them. He's very listening to him on Joe's show, Joe Rogan's show. I don't know him personally. It was like he was saying so many not positive. He was saying so many things that could sort of be appealing to a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, I mean, it was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Well,
That's
yeah. Well,
the only group of people who get on there.
Well, and to the point where I was like, like, okay, it made me perk up a little bit more. You know what I mean? He was saying things that sort of like, I don't know, Nathan. I don't know if it's something that, it's not anything I thought in the back of my mind, but it's just stuff like, it's just talking about like the nature of men. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I found that interesting. He's like talking about how like there's this, I don't know, there can be aggressive tendencies in guys, and I think that's probably a real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We try to downplay it, but it's real. I mean,
No, it's definitely
it's
real.
part of our evolution. You know what I mean? That we have aggressive tendencies.
It's a,
And finding
testosterone.
Yes, testosterone, and finding a way to channel that in a socially acceptable way is a big part of growing up. I feel like, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So just things about that I found really interesting, but interspersed with that were like really asshole things to say too. They were sort of funny, at the same time because he was being so outrageous. But anyway.
Right. I can't find anything.
Okay, fine.
It's
It's
very
out there.
unhelpful.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he said. I don't care what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, if you sign on to a website, follow their rules of conduct.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
It's true. It is true.
If you walk into a restaurant, you have to follow their rules to be in there. You don't walk in with, your penis hanging. It's specifically against the rules at every Red Lobster.
I can't tell you how many Wendy's I've been in, and they're like, you have to leave. You
Right.
don't have shoes on.
On Twitter, if you aren't supposed to, cyberbully people, don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's all there is.
That's it.
And don't listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. There's
come on.
literally no reason.
Doesn't this kind of lead into, I think you had something you wanted to bring to the table tonight. It sort of leads
It's on the
into
other
it.
side.
It's on the other side.
So I feel like Joe Rogan and his cronies are on the ultimate far right side. Not like far right where it's like Nazis,
Right.
but like to the far right extreme,
Libertarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the far right.
That's the far right. You go far enough right, you're libertarian.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't like the far right.
Okay.
I also don't like the far left.
Yep.
Far anything is always bad.
It's true.
There is no...
It's true. No, it's true. I mean, I think you and I don't know about you, but I definitely identify, in general, with liberal values. You know what I mean? Like, I'm basically a liberal. I might even be a communist. I don't know. But not in a real way. But if you're listening, I do not. But yeah, I mean, I think we're both probably pretty moderate people at the end of the day.
Oh, I'm very moderate.
Yeah.
Here's... And I heard it explained this way one time. And I can't disagree with it because it's the perfect way of explaining it.
Okay.
Democrats and liberals are idealistic dreamers.
Correct.
And Republicans and conservatives are realistic to a fault.
Correct.
Okay. So on the one side, you have the liberals and Democrats and who want everything to be free for everyone. No one ever has to suffer, blah, blah, blah. That's great, but it's not always realistic.
Correct.
Then on the other side, you have the people going, everything's fine. We don't need to ever change anything. It's not beneficial to change things
Right.
because they're being realistic about how much they like their current situation.
Correct.
Okay. So then the libertarians are so far right that they're like, not only do we not need to change anything, we should undo everything we've ever changed forever. There should be no government.
And the Tea Partiers are on the way to that. I mean, the Tea
Party's in between libertarian and Republican.
but also different. I really dislike the Tea Party people. Just saying.
Well,
this whole thing about the Constitution, fetishizing the Constitution, is insane. You know what I mean? Things change.
Yes.
Over the course
as witnessed by the defense of the Second Amendment.
Exactly.
It wasn't in the original. Stop defending it and citing the forefathers because they did. It was an amendment.
It was after. It was after. And also, the whole thing is built so that it can be amended. Amending is change. Well, what were those voices that just came in there? We have some very opinionated ghosts in here.
Bunch of turds.
God, turd ghosts.
Anyway, so I don't like the far right.
Right.
With their Tea Party and their nut jobbery. On the left, however, is a whole new level of nut jobbery.
I know.
Where everything is ultimately like you have to be as politically correct as humanly possible. Everyone should be exactly the same all the time.
It's tough. It's tough.
We're not allowed to acknowledge that there are differences between genders, races, anything.
People.
Cultures. Everyone is the same.
You know what, Nathan? I just want to say this real quick. Just a quick interjection. Melting pot was the old way. Mm-hmm. It's a salad. It's a salad bowl.
That's true.
We retain our identities, but we're all mixed together.
Well, and
that salad dressing is freedom.
But don't take too much of the salad dressing.
You'll get fat.
Yeah. So on this far left, this person annoys me exactly as much as Joe Rogan, who is just his podcast.
Just hammering it home. God, I just started listening to it. Leave me alone.
Lena Dunham.
Lena Dunham.
If you're not familiar, from the TV show Girls.
TV show Girls.
If you're not familiar with the TV show Girls,
I don't know what else she's done. Was she stand up or anything?
No.
Writing.
Small
furniture?
Yeah. Tiny furniture.
Tiny
furniture?
Tiny furniture.
I don't know. I made it half an hour into that.
Didn't watch it.
Okay. So, people like Lena Dunham. People say she's very, very smart, a genius, etc.
Not to be sexist, she's got a nice face. Anyway.
Does she?
Yeah, pretty good face.
I mean, it's attached to her head. I haven't analyzed Lena Dunham's face. I don't know how her face is.
Okay, moving on.
So people like Lena Dunham.
Yes.
I don't get it. I've tried to get it. I have, as previously said, tried watching Tiny Furniture. Didn't
care for it.
Didn't finish.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. It was unwatchable.
Was it depressing? It looked depressing. Okay.
I mean, if you were to come up with a parody of an indie movie, it felt like that to me.
Interesting.
So, like, not that she was trying to parody it, but like she was trying to be overly indie.
Gotcha.
if that makes sense.
Like if there's a document of it, if there's a holy grail, and not a holy grail, there's the 10 Commandments of indie.
Yeah.
She was trying to follow it.
So much quirk in that movie.
Lots
Just
of quirk.
Quirky left and right.
Unnecessary quirk.
Then I tried watching Girls.
Okay.
Made it 2 episodes in. Couldn't do it.
Okay.
Which, I will say that one, I believe is firmly because it's not meant for me. I'm not a 20-something-year-old female living in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's not your audience.
No.
You should listen to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said it's not my show, not that I hate myself.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Girls is not the same way that Sex in the City was not for you.
Right.
Girls is not for you.
Exactly. Yeah. I've watched Sex in the City because my wife likes Sex in the City.
Sure.
Do I ever laugh or even get it? I don't. There's a lot of talking about shoes and men. I can't relate to anything.
Yeah.
Usually I zone out or think about the Royals game.
It's funny. Yeah, well, yeah. I get it. No, it's funny, this analysis of guys and when it comes to girls, because I feel like it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a man for 30...
for like 15,
5
20,
years. Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah,
15, 20 years.
I mean,
yeah.
the change was hard, but here I am. I've had some time.
By the way, that joke would offend
Lena Dunham.
Anyway,
Okay.
you've had some time.
I've had some time being a man, and I just don't. We're people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that complicated,
Yeah.
but we are people.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stereotypes are somewhat true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all stereotypes come from a place where it can be truthful.
True. There's a lot of
It's
true.
just taken to an extreme in some cases.
Correct.
Anyway, so Lena Dunham.
Lena Dunham.
So couldn't get behind girls. I even went so far knowing that Judd Apatow, who I think is a brilliant writer, director,
Yes. Sure.
likes Lena Dunham. Big
Okay.
fan of Lena Dunham.
Okay.
Produced Girls. Helped
Oh, really?
write an episode or two of Girls.
Didn't know that.
Likes Lena. I mean, big fan.
Clearly.
So I'm like, okay, I have to be missing something. So I went as far into the Lena Dunham rabbit hole as I could.
Okay.
And I got her audiobook of her memoir, which, if you're in your 20s and you're writing a memoir, I mean, it better be good. It better be very well
Well,
written.
look at it this way. There's a big proportion of childhood that has to be in there because not a lot has happened.
It was for the part that I made it through,
Yeah.
which was 20 minutes of the audiobook. I believe it was roughly 8 hours, and I made it 20 minutes.
Okay.
And stopped. And returned
What is
it
that
to
in
the
dogs?
library.
What is that in dogs?
I made it exactly half of a Shar-Pei.
That would not live.
Half a Shar-Pei. It was a lot of college sexual exploits.
Oh. Has she slept with women?
But not in the first 20 minutes of her
Okay.
memoir.
It's just a question
There
I
was
have
a
to
whole
ask.
chapter that it was the stopping point where she talked about how she had friends she liked to cuddle with.
Oh, that's fine. Cuddling's fine.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not a chapter of a memoir. Anyway, so I still didn't get it.
You have a point.
And I've decided it's just because I genuinely dislike her.
Okay. You're not a Dunham.
This is a perfect example of why this week Lena Dunham threw a fit saying that when we, as white people,
Yeah.
first off,
Of which,
you know where this is going, white guilt.
yeah, why
Here we go.
That's why I drink.
Eat food of any sort of ethnicity
Okay.
that is not cooked exactly the way it was made in that home country. It is cultural appropriation, and we shouldn't call it that. So, for instance, Chinese food
Yeah.
should be called China-inspired food.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
It's not politically correct now to go to the Panda Express and call it Chinese food. And some would argue it's not correct to call it food at all. But you have to call it China-inspired food. Italy-inspired food.
Oh.
Indian-inspired food.
Here's my response to that. My response to that is this, man. And I've heard this said by other smart people. Who has time for all this bullshit? There are real... Pardon me for a second. There are real problems in the world. There are... People are starving.
Yeah.
People are dying.
Yeah.
We've had like fucking internationally.
Yeah.
We've had like a handful of shootings this week.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck if you call it Chinese food or Chinese inspired food? It's made by fucking Chinese people. Sometimes. Usually it's made by
Right.
Mexicans these days. But the Chinese people own the restaurant and, you know, maybe their kids run it. I've been to those kind of situations where like you have to order from like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
It's really, they're very annoyed by you being there. It's a whole thing.
Here's a question I have. If you eat Chinese food that's made by a Mexican, And then you try to replicate that dish at home.
I don't even know anymore.
Do you have to call it Mexico-inspired, Chinese-inspired food?
Interpreted by Caucasian?
Chinese-inspired...
Look, here's the thing. White people have done some fucked up stuff. No one is contesting that. We've done some bad things. I have a theory, and this is the first time I've ever publicly voiced this theory. I've voiced it to a couple friends.
Oh, is this going to get us in trouble?
It might.
Okay.
White people come from Europe. We all came from Africa. We are all Africans. It's just how long have we been out of Africa?
Right.
How much have we changed since we left Africa? Human race came from Africa.
Cradle of civilization and whatnot, yes.
Precisely. We're all Africans, okay? Now, I'm not contesting that shit has gone wrong for Africans / black people in general since Africa. It clearly has. White people are a product of a European environment, correct?
That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
It's cold. There's snow. Our skin got paler. Correct?
Yeah.
We have a lot of body hair, for example,
Okay.
because it got cold, right?
Sure.
Am I wrong about these things?
Sure.
Okay. White people came from an area where resources were limited.
Right.
Sure, we had wood. Sure, we had this and that. We didn't have a plethora of crops and such. We didn't have a lot to go on.
Okay.
So we made boats, we got in the water, and we went places. Now, we fucked shit up because when we got there, we conquered people and destroyed them and made them slaves, etc. All bad things. My contention is this. Had we have come from somewhere else, it doesn't matter. If we had been, if Europe had made people purple, then purple people would be bad.
Yeah.
It's about where we came from. It's about resources
Right.
and a lack thereof. It's not something inherently wrong with white people
Right.
that we conquered people. We just conquered people. It's what we did. It's consequential that we happen to be this color. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Okay. I'm not apologizing. I mean, I'm not saying that we. I'm not minimizing anything that's happened at all.
Here's my thought on the whole thing.
Okay.
As a white person,
Yeah.
I'm fully aware of our history.
Yeah.
Crusades, whatnot.
Yeah.
All bad.
All bad.
A lot of bad.
Lots of bad.
If you look at, I mean, even the best things that white people did,
Yeah.
bad for someone.
Surely.
None of those people it was bad for,
Yes.
I don't think, would care whether we labeled our version of their food as inspired
Correct.
by
You're right.
or that food.
You're right. I'm making it a bigger thing right now. But you're correct.
You see, you're trying to argue on the level of Lena Dunham, whereas my thought
Micro? The micro level?
is, no, you're making things a big deal.
Okay.
She's made it a big deal.
Yeah.
It's food.
Oh no! You're right. No. I was using.
No, I know
I
what
was
you're
using
doing.
China inspired to launch into my whole thing about, and maybe it's white guilt that makes me think these things, but I'm not apologizing. Apologizing is the wrong word. I'm not minimizing any of it. It's all fucking horrible.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's as much as I can get it. It's horrid, but in that position, I don't think there's there's no gene for race, by the way, guys.
Right.
I don't think there's inherently anything different about white people versus, by the way, white people is a misnomer. We're all different. You know what I mean? I'm English. You're probably some kind of Norwegian or something.
I'm black.
You're not black. You're not
This
black.
is a podcast. No one can see me. I'm black.
Google Nathan Badley.
Don't do that.
You will see that he is not black.
That's an imposter.
Listen, I'm just saying that there's nothing inherently bad about people with this color of skin. That's what I'm saying. I think that's the same argument as saying there's nothing inherently bad about people of another color of skin.
Well,
there's
no.
nothing inherently bad about anyone. You know,
It's-
based on their genetics.
No, it's not genetically an issue at all.
Correct.
Where it has been an issue, and is not as much an issue now, I like to think,
Right.
hopefully not,
Right.
is a cultural thing.
Right.
Where in white culture, the white American culture,
Yeah.
specifically,
Right.
I'm sure in Europe it was this way too. They just don't have as many different, groups of people to deal with.
Right.
So
Correct.
I don't know.
Correct. No. Yeah.
Culturally, for many, 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 many years, white people were told, you are superior.
Right.
And I like to think that this has gone down.
Yeah. I think so.
I don't see as many white supremacists as I assume there were in the 20s.
Right.
For instance.
Right,
With
no.
that said, David Duke does have a radio show.
Hey.
So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
All I know is the day I see a China-inspired buffet
Oh God.
is the day I find a different buffet to
Is
go
she
to.
saying? For all I know, she's brilliant because people love her and whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't watched anything literally that she's done, but is she saying that the only place to get Chinese food is in China?
Yeah.
Prepared by Chinese
Or it's
people?
cultural appropriation.
This whole cultural appropriation thing is bullshit, by the way.
Yeah.
It's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are instances.
Are we going to take hamburgers away from China?
No, because that's cultural. Well, maybe we should because it's cultural appropriation of Americans.
That you can have your General Tso's that we have
Right.
appropriated.
Dude, I went to Peru. Their big restaurants are KFC, Burger King, and fucking McDonald's. This is where they want to go. Now that's wrong. I don't like that. There should be a great Peruvian restaurant they want to go to, not this bullshit franchise that's crossed the whole world over. Fuck that. But it's there and it's happening. You know what I
KFC's
mean?
pretty good though.
No, it's not really that good. It's,
I mean,
horrible.
It's
the mashed
it's like-
potatoes, but
it's like my 7th or 8th favorite fried chicken fast food place.
if you put the macaroni on top of the mashed potatoes, it's not bad. Look, my argument is kind of the same thing about the men are bad argument, right?
Well, I mean, we are. Lena Dunham said so.
Clearly we are. God, we've gotten so political lately. I want to get away from this. I really do, but I just have to get it out of my system. It's been building. It's been building, Nathan. And I don't want to turn people off, but damn, dude. Like, yeah, men are on top. We've been on top. It's fucked up. I get that. But like, we're not bad. We are the way that we are. You know what I mean? And there are more similarities between men and women than there are differences. We're all fucking human beings, first of all.
Wait,
We've
what?
all- yeah. You didn't know.
Oh,
We've
crap,
all,
man.
like, trekked. Look, this is the way I think. Anyone that's made it this far, we've traveled through, not to go back to last episode, we've traveled through time in the sense that we've evolved to be these amazing fucking creatures that can send shit out of our solar system. You know what I mean?
Or God created us exactly this
Well,
way.
we can at least
Roughly 3,000,
we can at least say
4,000 years ago.
this is the pinnacle to me. Okay, look,
You are so upset right now.
I am. I've never been. I'm so mad, and I've never been mad on the show. What's wrong? What's wrong? It's the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
He's fucking with me. He's in my head.
Which is not a good place for Joe
I
Rogan
know.
to be. The only good place for Joe Rogan to be is far away.
To be fair, I think that's where he's trying to go. Look, the pinnacle of human achievement, not cultural achievement, but just technological achievement to me, is the fact that we now have
Stuffed crust pizza?
spacecraft. Well, that spacecraft.
Yeah.
sounds like stuffed crust pizza. It's not stuffed crust pizza. we have spacecraft that are making their way out of our solar system.
Right.
You know, these are the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. That's the pinnacle of our achievement to me, in a way.
Right.
Because as far as we know, we're the only fucking things that have ever done anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which kind of makes Carl Sagan the ultimate human, but he's not the only person that worked on those things. Anyway, Carl Sagan got around. Did you know that? Carl Sagan had, like, people interested in Carl Sagan's cock. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be?
No, but like, but I can see how. But I admire, like, what I mean. You know, the guy that describes everything in dandelions is like also really sexy to some people. That's cool. So, besides Beethoven and, like, you know, string theory, let's not go down that rabbit hole again.
Oh,
besides,
string theory.
like, just amazing shit, that curing of diseases, whatever.
Yeah.
Moments where we've done good shit in the slew of bad shit we've done as a human race. You know, I think that the fact that we are by proxy traveling outside of the solar system now is intense. That's happening right now. It's going to take a while, I think, for the Voyagers to get out of here.
Well, yeah.
But when they do, you know, I mean, that's insane. You know what I mean? That's beyond anything that we could think to do.
Right.
But we did it.
And you know what happens then?
The aliens kill us all?
We find an alien planet.
Yeah, probably.
And we culturally appropriate all their things. Dreams do come true.
Sushi jackknife?
Sushi jackknife.
Yeah. I mean, I could keep talking, but that's a pretty good button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Good night, everybody. I'm a very nice person.